Hi, I'm Sean with Gilbreath Guitars, and this is questions and answers number 5. And I got some questions about making templates and stuff, and I was also on a forum earlier today and I saw some people asking about putting together templates or joining guitar bodies and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go through a basic quick process of what I do to make a template and kind of how it goes into following the design to the finish, because the stuff all needs to be lined up, so you kind of have to make sure you got your plan before you start, for the most part anyways, and you want to make sure everything lines up. So what I usually do is I get a blueprint, and I take that blueprint and I stick it to a piece of MDF, like a 1/4 inch MDF, something like this. And on this one, it was a double cut Melody Maker, so I put the blueprint on it and glued it to it real good, and I took files and stuff and filed off. Well, I cut all the excess off rough cut first on a bandsaw, and then I filed it off and was real careful to make it perfect up to that line right there, on the line, and not to go over, and to make sure that I didn't go under either, because it has to be perfect, because this, whatever you do here will show up in your work later on and cause you a lot more sanding. So if you're precise in this step right here, the rest of your project should go a lot smoother. So if you notice on this template, there's a center line on it. So don't get any blueprints that don't have a center line, because you want that center line, because you're going to transfer it from this to the other one. And this isn't the same one. This is one of my my first that I use. This was the first step for a template, the 1/2 inch. And I transferred this one from another template so that I could put these input, or these pockets in it. And so that's what this was. Then I used this to transfer it to a bigger piece of wood, 1/4 inch, like this one right here. So this template, I wasn't really worried about doing the horns and stuff. I set it on top of a body so that I can route out the neck and the pockets and the bridge, and that way everything's lined up and there's a center line on it, if you notice. And I also have the center line on the edges too, so that you can see it. So I transfer these, like this one right here, I just make the shape. I'll stick this to a piece of wood and then cut it out, route it out, make sure it's smooth, then take this off and then sand the whole thing down real nice. Like here's a rough cut. Here's a rough cut piece of maple. So I just took the template, I put it on, I drew the shape out, but I made sure that I lined it up with that center line, because there's 2 pieces of wood right here, and you might be able to see the center line if you look at it carefully. You can see the center line is right there. So I lined that up perfectly so that when I go to route this, because I run a router around the outside edge, I can line up that template with it. Like this one right here. So I'll put that on here, line it up perfectly with the center line, and then route out all that excess. So when you rough cut it, you want to make sure you leave enough to cut off. You don't want to get in there too close, because then you'll have some issues with your body. So always leave enough to work with. And I suggest between about an 1/8 inch and a 1/4 inch extra wood to cut off. And then after you get done with that step, after routing it off clean with the template, you're going to have to sand it. It's still going to need a lot of sanding. So it's really important, that center line is really, really important. So here's a body blank. I haven't made a shape out of it yet, and you can see the center line really well. So I just want to make sure that I've got at least 13 inches across right here, because that's how much Telecasters and Stratocasters are going to need. The Melody Maker is a little bit wider. Gibson has a little bit different shape, so you make sure your shapes are straight. But this one right here is for a Telecaster. So I'll put a Telecaster template on it and then cut it out. And then after that, we'll put whatever stuff on it. Sometimes I'll use just a neck template, and it has a center line on it, so I can line it up perfectly where it needs to go. And if you're looking at those blueprints, one of the things that I messed up early on was this little 3/8 inch right here. So a couple times while I was making guitars early on, I moved this pocket, this neck pocket, back to this line right here, even with the pickup pocket. And my pocket was too far to the body, and that's it, you're done. It's hard to fix that. I mean, you can, but it's gonna look like crap unless you use like a 24 fretboard or something. 22 might do it. And you might, if you're gonna paint it, you probably could fix it and then just Bondo it up real nice and do some body filler and then sand it down and then paint it over it. But I like to mostly use the grains and do stained type projects with like a vignette around it, so it's dark on the outside edges and gets lighter towards the center. So here's that Melody Maker body. Here's one of them. This one I was experimenting with putting epoxy in it, in the knots. I actually like how I came out with that one. Still looking for a neck for it though, so I haven't finished it. It's about 6 months old. Anyways, there's lots of good videos on YouTube to go look at stuff to help you out with. And you can message me if I have time. I'll try to answer you back or make a help video, because I'm adding more and more help videos to my website and to YouTube. Thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button and share this with everybody who should see it.